Have you guys ever seen those nerdy-ass computer mice that have like 6 million buttons on the side? You know the ones I'm talking about. Pretty useful when you're playing something like StarCraft where you need about 10,000 actions per minute just to keep up with the competition, or like when you're doing a raid in WoW or something. I don't know, I've never even played WoW. Personally, I like to assign the melee to one of the side buttons when I'm playing some sort of shooter or something like that. But what does this all have to do with Oblivion? Well, in Oblivion, there aren't too many actions you have to do in comparison to other RPGs. Literally, you just click shit until it dies. One of the many things I love about Oblivion. In Morrowind, you just click on shit until the gods have decided you can kill something. Here's footage of me failing to cast a spell several times in a row in Morrowind.
You failed casting the spell. You failed casting the spell. Stop! Stop!
But I digress. Today, we will be attempting to complete the Dark Brotherhood using only the mouse. It's like the classic line, good artists borrow, but great artists steal. I saw a video of someone trying to complete Skyrim without using the keyboard, link in the description, and decided that it could be a fun idea for Oblivion as well. But Mr. YouTuber, you may be asking, how the fuck are you going to move around with only your mouse? I'll get to that in a second. You may also be asking, why the Dark Brotherhood? Because I don't want to do the main quest again. Next question. Anyways, let me lay out the rules first. Rule number 1. The mouse is the only method of input allowed. The only exception is to pause the game, since for some reason, pause can't be remapped to a button on the mouse. We will only be pausing the game to save at the end of every session. We won't even be pausing to remap our buttons or to manually save. This might cause a problem or two, as you'll see. Also, in the bottom right hand corner, I have an input overlay to prove I'm not using the keyboard at all while I'm doing this. Rule number 2, no glitches allowed. We can't even do half of them anyway without the keyboard. For example, you have to hold shift and then click in order to drop items for item duplication, or spamming quick save and quick load to clip through walls, stuff like that. Exploits, as always, will be allowed. Rule number 3, all bonuses from contracts that have one must be completed if physically possible. And finally, rule number 4, complete the Dark Brotherhood questline. The challenge is complete when Matthew Bellamont thinks he's him and tries to slash an eternal, unkillable ghost with a simple dagger. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. How are we going to move around when we can only use the mouse? As you can see right about here, there's a key map called Always Move. This is defaulted to Q, I believe, and what this does is make your character move without having to press any buttons. Naturally, we'll have to map this to one of our buttons on the mouse to even be able to move at all. Since the video was called, Can You Beat the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion Without Moving?, we'd have already failed spectacularly. This will be bound to one of the side buttons. Oh yeah, by the way, I don't have one of those fancy mice that have all those buttons on the side. All we're working with are the left and right click, middle mouse wheel, and the 2 buttons on the side. We have already filled 20% of our available button slots. Capital! We also obviously need to have attack bound to actually kill stuff. Of course, not all the contracts need to be attacked directly, but of course we'll need to kill most of the targets ourselves. We'll keep attack bound to the left mouse button. The interact button will also need to be bound to one of the buttons on the mouse, since if we can't open doors, we can't go anywhere, and thus we would fail the challenge and our parents would disown us. We would also fail a couple of bonuses if we couldn't use the interact key anyway. We'll map this to our right mouse button. Next, we need to have the journal button bound in order to open our inventory and our map. Not only do I just want to have a way to equip stuff and not have to walk everywhere, there's exactly one contract where we need to equip a very specific weapon. Therefore, this is not optional. This will be bound to the other side button. Technically, we have everything we need to complete the Dark Brotherhood with just 4 buttons. A way to move, a way to attack, a way to interact with doors and containers, and a way to open the journal screen. However, we still have the mouse wheel available for another action. I thought for a while about what should go here. Maybe we could bind the auto run button to the mouse so we don't have to slow walk everywhere. Maybe we could bind the mouse wheel to sneak since, you know, we're a sneaky assassin and all that. Plus, we could cheese our sneak to 100 to do some hilarious sneaking. Seriously, 100 sneak in this game is outrageous. Maybe we could bind it to weight so we can more easily refresh vendors' inventories. Maybe we could bind it to jump so we can jump up the sides of mountains like true Elder Scrolls players. Or perhaps we could bind the middle mouse wheel to quick save so we don't have to lose a ton of progress whenever we fail. In the end, I decided to put cast on the mouse wheel. This opens up the possibility of using spells, which will be very helpful. So helpful, in fact, to the point of being basically necessary. As you probably know, there are a few instances during the Dark Brotherhood where you really need to slip by undetected to obtain bonuses. With spellcasting, we can use powers or spells to just remain invisible as much as possible. Of course, since we can't run, we'll need to find a way to maintain our invisibility for as long as possible. But I think it'll be easier than actually trying to sneak by enemies, as good as 100 sneak is. Keep in mind, we cannot reload or save mid-game since we can't pause. We're stuck with whatever the autosave gives us, so having 100% consistency in sneaky by NPCs will be essential for not having to redo dozens of years of progress every time we fuck up. With that out of the way, on to the game. For our race, we'll be going with an Altmer. We're going to be casting spells a lot, and of course, we've already played as a Breton, aka the most overpowered race in the game. Altmer start out with about 6 million Magicka points by default, but they are weak to Fire, Shock, and Frost. Shouldn't be an issue, I'd imagine. After creating whatever the fuck this is, We immediately fail the challenge because we have to use our keyboard to input a valid name for our character. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to drop a like and a sub for some more challenge runs. Link to my Twitch in the... Nah, I'm just fucking with you. We name him No Keyboard Sad emoticon and begin the tutorial. Valen Dreft starts roasting the shit out of us, but little does he know. Oh, how little does he know. Emperor Intercell tells us he saw us in Dream. We follow. We fight Mythic Dawn. We annihilate tutorial rats. Finally, we can actually just kill these little shits normally. Actually, nothing interesting at all happens in the tutorial since we can go through it basically normally this time, but a couple things to note. We tell Uriel that our burst sign is the Shadow. We can't run, so no use taking the Steed. You can make the argument for the Mage or Princess burst signs, but instead we decide to take the Shadow for the invisibility power. We would like any option to become invisible that we can get.
Don't push me, prisoner. Don't push me, prisoner.
Later on, after the Emperor gets his cheeks clapped with a radiant smile on his face, Boris tells us that he thinks we're an experienced crusader.
But from what I've seen of you, I'm guessing you're an experienced crusader. Am I right?
Honestly, this is the closest he's ever gotten to being correct, and it's still way off. In reality, we are a custom class named Adventurer, since we can't use the keyboard to rename our class. We specialize in magic to increase our magic skills faster. Favorite attributes are Intelligence for more magicka and Endurance for some more health, since I have a feeling we might be taking a beating or two. As for our major skills, we take Destruction, Illusion, Mysticism, and Conjuration so we can immediately have access to apprentice level spells. We also take Light Armor, Marksman, and Blade because we have to put something there. We likely won't be leveling up too much, so leveling optimally isn't a huge concern. Anyways, Boris tells us to fuck off to Wayne and Priory to deliver the amulet to Joffrey, but of course, we ain't doing that shit this time. When we leave the sewers, our first stop is to rob the arena in broad daylight with everyone watching. We can't use the wait function to wait until night since the wait button isn't bound to anything, and we also can't sneak for the same reason. The skill decreases we get for going to jail don't matter at all, and they don't even confiscate the gold that we managed to steal. It's here that we remember something. If at any point we get over-encumbered, we will be forced to reload a previous save, since we'd have to use the keyboard to drop items out of our inventory. The only way to lighten our load will be to sell off our items, which we'll do in just a little bit. Anyways, our next stop is Kvatch. No, we aren't coming here to close the gate. Instead, if you go into this tent, you can kill those Bosmer here without alerting anyone.
What's going on? Oh! This ends here! Why won't you die? You're pathetic! I'm just warming up, you pathetic! Am I supposed to be impressed? What's the matter? Getting tired?
Okay, unless that happens. For some reason, nobody even seems to be fazed by what just went down. After killing this innocent man, we sleep in his bed and are visited by Lucien Lachance. He tells us that he's a listener for the Dark Brotherhood and he would like to recruit us into the family. Apparently, in order to get in, we have to kill the perpetual sleeper Rufio at the Inn of Ill Omen, north of Breville. As soon as we fast travel to Breville, we are immediately stopped by a guard who somehow knows about the murder we just committed all the way in Kvatch and hauls us off to jail. If there's one thing Skyrim did better than Oblivion, it's the stupid-ass bounty system and having different bounties for different holds rather than every single guard in the universe magically knowing if you've committed a crime. Anyways, after selling off a lot of our stuff, we start walking towards the Inn of Ill Omen. On the way, we discover that we actually get a significant speed boost if we power attack on a downward slope. We also tussle with some bandits and only have a little bit of trouble. Just look at him. Bro looks like he's stalking his prey with that walk. We arrive at the Inn of Ill Omen and instantly one-shot Rufio and then get into bed with him, wondering what the fine for necrophilia and Cyrodiil is. Asking for a friend, by the way. When we awake, Lucien visits us again and tells us to go to the abandoned house in Shadenhall to locate the Dark Brotherhood sanctuary. The secret passcode to enter the sanctuary is... well, if you're a true fan, you already know the passcode. When we enter the sanctuary, we're greeted by Ochiva. She hands us a sick-ass set of armor and tells us to speak with Vincente Valtieri for our first contract. Horrifyingly, he's actually a vampire. He assures us that his needs as a vampire come after the needs of the guild, however, and even says he can make us a vampire once we've proven ourselves. We tell Vincente that we can't use the wait feature to wait until night to do literally fucking anything at all, and that we would like our first contract. We are tasked with eliminating the captain of a ship at the Imperial City waterfront. No bonus to obtain. Before that though, let's listen to perhaps the funniest bit of dialogue in the entire game.
And the great thing about killing a target up close and personal is you can talk to him before you do it. You know, say something scary. Oh, for example, this one time, I had a contract to kill a little Nord girl at her birthday party. She asked me if I was the jester. So I said to her, "No, I am a messenger of death." You should have seen the look on her face. Anyway, she won't be seeing age 6.
We also see that Mirage Dar here sells an invisibility spell that we would really like to purchase. We'll come back to that. At the waterfront, before we've even remotely boarded the ship, 2 pirates begin attacking us. Thankfully, we have the Imperial Guards here as backup.
Troubling. Ha! This is the part where you fall down and bleed to death.
Show me what you got! For the Empire! I'm just warming up, you pathetic worm!
You're pathetic! A traitor to your own race!
Something to report?
We sneak onto the boat using a shipping crate and pretty swiftly eliminate these 2 pirates. Then we find the ship's captain and just shit all over him.
What business you be having here, mate?
He also has a copy of the Lusty Argonian Maid in his inventory. We take this book for personal use later. Our next contract is to eliminate Baneland in Bruma. To obtain the bonus, we have to both stage an accident by loosening some fastenings on a mounted head, causing it to fall on Baneland, and make sure that his servant Grom isn't killed. Of course, when we walk into Baneland's house, Grom immediately tells us to piss off. We then try entering and casting our Moonshot of Power, and that works. We walk upstairs, enter this crawl space door, and loosen the fastenings on the mounted Benatar head, causing it to fall on Baneland and kill him instantly. Unfortunately, we can't sneak out, and Grom aggroes on us. We walk outside to see if we could bait the guards to attack him, and to our surprise, they actually do attack him. However, we're not sure if the bonus is forfeit if the guards kill Grom, so we quickly walk outside the city and fast travel back to Shadenhall. Somehow, we've retained our bonus.
Capital!
The bonus in question? A really terrible ring. I'm pretty sure it's a leveled reward, but come on man, at least make it impactful as a level 1 reward. Our next contract? Eliminate Valandreth. Yes, capital! Capital! I know there are plenty of amazing quests in the Dark Brotherhood. I'm looking at you, whodunit, but this one, honestly, is my favorite. Nothing makes me happier than killing that little shit. Only one problem. We have to complete this contract without killing any Imperial guards to get a bonus. We can't wait to recharge our invisibility power, but we do find an invisibility scroll inside of Mirage Dar's chest. We can't find Mirage Dar anywhere though. Literally, I walked around for 10 minutes trying to find him so we could purchase that invisibility spell. It would be worth it to level Illusion to 50 just for that, in my opinion. Eventually, we just say fuck it and head over to the Imperial prison sewers. Mudcrabs and rats are not an issue, but these guards are. We cast our invisibility power to get past these guards, and then cast our invisibility scroll to make it past this guard. Then, as the guard is talking to Valandreth, we are spotted. We managed to easily kill Valandreth, but as you see, we do not have enough juice to walk past the million guards attacking us. Honestly, we should have thought about the return trip, since we already used our invisibility power and can't use the wait feature to recharge it, since it isn't bound to anything. Seems like we really need to purchase that invisibility spell after all. We return to the sanctuary in search of Mirage Dar. In doing so, we accidentally kill this rat and actually get exiled from the Dark Brotherhood. Rules are rules, so we can't pause to reload. Instead, we attempt to defeat the Wrath of Sithis to be reinstated. We go to a nearby inn to sleep and spawn the entity and... well, let me just show you the entire fight we have with it. Absolute classic Oblivion. Eventually, after a surprising amount of searching, we find Mirage Dar and purchase the Deathly Visage spell. We need at least 50 illusion to cast a spell, so we go around and hit everyone with the Calm spell to level our illusion skill. This doesn't work for some reason though. Instead, we head to a Warlock's Luck in Breville to purchase the Eyes of Eventide spell to boost our illusion skill. Annoyingly, we get there when the shop is closed. Since we can't wait, we have to fast travel back and forth until the shop is open. This will be the only way we're able to pass time besides sleeping in a bed. Once we purchase the spell, we rent a room at the nearby inn, cast Eyes of Eventide until our magicka depletes, sleep, and repeat until our illusion reaches 50. Our Shrouded Armor actually boosts our illusion by 10, but for some reason, this doesn't count towards the level requirements for casting spells. Then tell me, what the fuck is the point of fortifying our illusion skill then? Yes, I know it makes casting illusion spells cheaper before you rush to the comments. We also get jump scared by this Dunmer here who gives us the start of Thieves Guild questline. We'll be ignoring that, however, because this is beating the Dark Brotherhood with only a mouse, and not the Thieves Guild. Anyways, we level our illusion to 50 and use a Deathly Visage spell to trivialize this quest. Turns out we have enough magicka to cast it basically infinitely if we just wait until the timer is just about up to recast it. And as a bonus, we don't break our invisibility by casting the spell again. Invisibility is absolutely broken in this game. Not as broken as 100% Chameleon, but still pretty broken. Valandreth does actually escape here, but we follow in hot pursuit and kill his stupid ass. Whenever we leave the sewer, we discover that the Imperial Guard chasing us will apparently do so to the ends of Nirn. Eventually though, we put enough distance between us and are able to fast travel back to Shadenhall to receive our next contract. Vincente tells us that a man named Francois Motier in Qarls has hired the Dark Brotherhood to stage his death. Apparently he's in a lot of debt, and those debtors are pissed. Pissed enough to send hired guns after him to retrieve the debt. And we have to, quote, kill Francois in front of the debt collectors to convince him that he's dead. Vincente tells us that normally the Dark Brotherhood doesn't do things like this, but Francois actually offered up his own mother to sacrifice to Sithis as a payment for his contract. What a dick! We head over to Qarls and do as instructed, strike Francois with a special Langerwine blade that mimics death perfectly after this amazing acting performance.
Tierra, I am here to exact payment in blood. You will... Eh? Who is this?
Oh no! What am I to do? An underworld...
Hides his heart is a little confused and tries to attack us. We can't kill him because he needs to return to his company to inform them of Francois' death. Instead, we walk outside and can just fast travel away. He doesn't chase us or anything. Capital! After escaping Qarls, we head to Francois' house to sleep for 24 hours so we can head to the chapel the next day and exhume his dead but not really dead body. Before that, we find these guards just chilling inside of map geometry. When we speak to this guard, we get arrested for some reason. At the chapel, Francois informs us that the spirits of his deceased family members are pissed and have all come back as zombies to kill us. He has a few choice words for his Aunt Margaret.
Oh my, Aunt Margaret. You're looking the worse for wear.
Francois is a total idiot here and keeps trying to fist zombies to death like he's Brother Fister or something. Even when we cast Turn Undead on the zombies, Francois still charges right at him. Eventually, we lead him to the Grey Mare, where he can arrange for travel outside of Cyrodiil and escape the debtors for good. When we return to the Sanctuary, Vincente offers us his dark gift of turning into a vampire. We tell him to go fuck himself and head to Ochiva to pick up our next contract. We must locate an Altmer named Phalion in the Imperial City and eliminate him. We must also eliminate him in a secure location with no witnesses in order to receive our bonus. We also speak with Tainava, who gives us an optional side quest to kill an Argonian named Scartail, located in the swamp of Bogwater, east of Leeuwin. We learn that apparently all Argonians born in Blackmarsh under the sign of the Shadow are forced into the Dark Brotherhood. Man, I didn't realize the Brotherhood was that dark. We won't be doing this quest as it's optional, and the reward is a leveled pair of boots that increase our blade and acrobatic skills, 2 skills we do not utilize often. Since we've done this quest before, we know that we can speak to Augusta Calidia at the Tiber Septim Hotel to find out about Phalion. After giving up on the Speechcraft minigame, we just bribe her, and she informs us that Phalion lives at the Tiber Septim Hotel with his wife Atrena. We head upstairs to speak to Atrena, and oh dear, we are broke and cannot bribe her. We have to legitimately play the speech minigame to increase our disposition. After speaking with her for about 30 seconds, we are basically her BFF, and she tells us that Phalion is tweaking off the skooma and likes to visit Lorkmir's house for hours every day, presumably to do Pilates or play ranked Valorant. After breaking into Lorkmir's house, we find him dead in his basement. I guess he was an annoying Instalog duelist or something, and Phalion had just about enough. We go upstairs and keep sleeping until Phalion shows up inside of Lorkmir's house.
Well, hey, what are you doing here? You're not my soul? Whoa, wow, yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds great. You can have my soul. Can I have your soul too?
Oh, wow.
We absolutely shit on him, completing the contract and securing our bonus. Our next contract is to eliminate a warlord known as Roderick inside of Fort Such. Yeah, that's right, the freaking dude from the hit band Loaded Diaper. To get our bonus, we must pass by undetected and replace the medicine in his cupboard with a special poison to kill him. When we enter Fort Such, we immediately encounter a problem. There's no way we can one-shot this guy or sneak past since our invisibility would end if we pull the lever to open the gate. We walk outside to think of a plan, but after coming up with nothing, we head back inside and the guard standing there just walks away, allowing us to pull the lever and immediately turn invisible again. As you can imagine, this is just about the easiest quest possible while you're completely invisible. We walk up to the cupboard, replace the medicine with Roderick's poison, and just leave without having to do anything. Capital! We return to the sanctuary, and Ochiva informs us that our next contract is to kill all the guests of a party at Summit Mist Manor in Skingrad. We are required to kill all of them without being outed as the imposter to obtain our bonus. Apparently, they were all told that there's a chest full of gold hidden somewhere inside of the house, and that they would be locked inside until someone found the chest. However, we are an assassin hired to kill them.
You're a funny one. Good, I'm glad one of us has a sense of humor about all this. It'll make our time here that much more enjoyable.
Our first target is this sweet old lady, Matilda Petit. Matilda Petit? I don't know, how do you pronounce that? Petit? Immediately after entering, she offers to team up with us to search the basement for the gold. Of course, we get her alone in the basement and just euthanize this senior citizen. Somehow the other guests have already learned of our murder.
Have you heard? Someone's been murdered. One of us.
We next speak to Primo Antonius, everyone's favorite Nepo baby. He doesn't tell us much. Dovisi Dran doesn't tell us much either. However, we notice that Neville is alone upstairs and we kill him while he sleeps. This is where things get wild. We cast Frenzy on Nels to bait him to attack the other guests. Instead, he just begins to attack us. Nobody even tries to kill Nels, instead just running away. We cast Frenzy on Antonius and the same thing happens. However, with the Frenzy still active on Antonius, we kill him right in front of Nels and somehow, someway, this does not void our bonus, nor does it aggro Nels. While Dovisi Dran isn't looking, we go ahead and murder Nels, followed by Dovisi. This completes the contract with the bonus somehow still intact. Trust me, I'm just as surprised as you are that this actually worked. Our next and final contract from Ochiva is to eliminate the retired Imperial Guard Adamus Philida, who now resides in the quaint seaside town of Leowin. To obtain our bonus, we must take the severed finger of Philida and place it inside of the desk of his successor in the Imperial City. Ochiva also gives us the Rose of Sithis, a special arrow that will instantly kill its target if it isn't wearing any armor. I'll admit, we take much longer just trying to do this contract than any of the other ones. The main problem is not being able to use the wait function. Since we've done this quest before, we are aware that Philida likes to take a swim early in the morning. Correction, apparently he takes a swim at 3 p.m., so basically all the following could have been avoided. My bad. Allowing us to take a shot at him with the Rose of Sithis and easily kill him. However, the only way we can pass precise amounts of time is by using a bed, and by the time we've slept until morning and slow walked all the way to where he likes to swim, it's too late. Instead, we try a different approach. Frenzy doesn't work on Philida. It does work on his guard, but he will never attack Philida or even us for that matter. We cast Frenzy on this Khajiit and she gets absolutely clapped by Philida's bodyguard. We then decide to just tail Philida to see where he goes. Apparently he just goes to the guard station outside the city. We try to 1v1 him like we're him or something and get humiliated. And then we do it again. Next, we try initiating combat with Philida, then retreating into the inn. This allows us to kill his bodyguard after about 1 million slashes from Sufferthorn. Why we didn't just use our spells is also a mystery to me, don't worry. Of course we go to jail for this, not a huge issue though. At least his bodyguard is dead. The bodyguard did drop a key to the guard station, so we decide to head inside and try to 1v1 Philida. On the first attempt, we actually managed to kill him, but a second guard kills us just at the same time as we killed Philida. Second attempt is much cleaner, and we managed to kill Philida and take his finger. Bro really took "hey, pull my finger" super seriously. After going to jail again, we head to the Imperial City to place the finger inside of his successor's desk. Like a boss, we just pick the lock while being slashed at by Imperial guards and insert the finger into the desk. Then we run into a problem. Since we don't have block bound to any button on our mouse, we can't actually yield to the guards and go back to jail for a third time in 10 minutes. Instead, we have to slow walk around 10 miles away, then come back and talk to a guard once they're de-aggro to go to jail. We have to do this because even though we're super far away from any possible pursuing guard, the game still thinks we're being pursued, making fast travel impossible. Anyways, once finally back at the sanctuary, Ochiva tells us that the man himself, Lucien Lachance, has given us a sealed envelope containing super secret orders. We open the envelope and find out that we must meet Lucien Lachance at Fort Farragut outside of Shadenhall. Inside, Lucien tells us that we must take on the Ritual of Purification, meaning that we must murder everybody inside the sanctuary, since there is apparently a traitor in our midst. A normal person would just drop poison apples everywhere or utilize sneak attacks. Here, check out this clip of me during the purification quest from my After a Few series, where we just repeatedly punch people with sneak attacks and kill everybody that way.
Save me.
Sit back down. Sit back down. Die.
However, we are not afforded such an opportunity. So what's the strategy? Literally just murder everyone one by one, sleeping in between each kill to heal. It's not even too difficult. For some reason, these NPCs specifically don't magically know that we're killing everybody up in the sanctuary. We do take a few deaths, but eventually we manage to kill everybody inside the sanctuary. Ochiva also has a copy of the Lusty Argonian Maid in her inventory. We'll be taking that again for personal use. Later, we return to Lucian, and he tells us that we will be receiving a series of dead drops, basically written contracts hidden inside of various hiding places around Cyrodiil. Our first one is located nearby on Hero Hill. Before that though, we take Shadowmere for a spin, and we can't even use them because we can't steer horses with the mouse. Capital! For our first dead drop contract, we are tasked with killing a powerful wizard named Celadine, located in Leafrot Cave. Inside of the cave, we find a book that informs us that if we can remove a special artifact from his inventory called the Sands of Resolve, Celadine will die immediately. This is great because we totally have Sneak bound to our mouse and can pickpocket it from his inventory. Of course, we'll have to fight him the hard way. It takes a couple of tries, but since he's an Altmer, he's weak to fire. So we just shoot him with some random fire arrows we found earlier and absolutely slaughter him. Our next dead drop is located in a sack underneath the great oak tree in the center of Qarls. For this contract, we must kill the entire Draconis family. The only family member that we know the location of exactly is the family matron, Perennia Draconis. She's located on a farm called Applewatch, just south of Bruma. On the way, we come across two Imperial guards fighting each other for some reason. When we confront Perennia, she actually believes that we're a shopper she hired to shop for gifts for her children. As such, she very conveniently hands us the list of all of her children and their respective locations. Capital! However, when we try to kill Perennia, we actually discover we're not him, and are unable to kill her before she can run away. We go ahead and tank the jail time, kill our cellmate for no reason, and return to Applewatch to try again. This time, she dies with 2 frost spells. Next, we head to Leywyn to kill Celia Draconis. We try to cast Frenzy on her to get her to attack other NPCs, but that fails spectacularly. We do manage to frenzy a couple of these NPCs here, but it isn't enough to kill Celia. Eventually, we just kill her ourselves and tank the jail time. Again. Man, we've sure gone to jail a lot so far. Next target, Matthias Draconis in the Imperial City. We aggro his boyfriend with the Frenzy spell, and for some reason, an Imperial guard comes in clutch and kills Matthias for us. We then head to the Drunken Dragon Inn to take care of Andreas Draconis. Simple, really. We initiate combat with him, then frenzy the nearby Imperial guard to have him kill Andreas for us. Our final target is Sibylla Draconis, a hermit who resides in Muck Valley Cavern. On the way, we accidentally get naked after activating this runestone. This fight is by far the toughest one of this quest. Sibylla aggroes us instantly on sight and is quite powerful and tanky. Eventually though, through some invisibility spell finessing and leading her outside away from her animal companions, we finally manage to eliminate her and complete the contract. We find our next dead drop in the well right outside of Castle Skingrad. Our task is to eliminate Khajiit known as Jagasta in Bruma. Apparently he's a master of unarmed combat. Even better still, he's apparently bribed all of the guards to look the other way if our fight with him makes it onto the streets of Bruma. We confront him in his house and tell him that Sithis invited us inside.
Sithis? What is this treachery? Who sent you? I don't know who is behind this outrage.
That's weird. Why would he call it treacherous? How does he know about the void? Anyways, we get our cheeks absolutely clapped by this man several times. We try 1v1ing him, we try frenzying NPCs to help, nothing works. He just melts our fatigue and makes us repeatedly fall over as we're trying to fight him. On top of that, he has about 6 million health points. Just as we're thinking about giving up, we have a brain blast. I'm sure you guys know about the Bruma Mage's Guild recommendation quest, where you're tasked with finding an invisible Jaskar. What you might not know, however, is that Volinaro is actually scripted to cast a spell on Jaskar around 8 PM every night that gives him 100% Chameleon for 24 in-game hours. That's about 40 minutes or so of real time, I think. What's amazing about this is that we can actually intercept this spell and have Volinaro cast it on us instead of Jaskar, giving us the 24 hours of complete Chameleon. With that knowledge in mind, we begin the Bruma recommendation quest after paying off a bounty that we had no idea that we had. All we have to do is begin the quest to spawn Jaskar and have Volinaro cast a spell. We just simply sleep in this bed until 8 PM, cast Detect Life so we can more easily see where Jaskar is standing, and just place ourselves between Jaskar and Volinaro when he casts a spell. It's not completely consistent, but super easy to reattempt by just sleeping for 24 hours. Once we have the Chameleon effect on us, the fight with Jagasta is a complete joke. Our next dead drop underneath the old bridge south of the Imperial City tells us that our next target is a psychotic Argonian named Qarls, located inside a flooded mine. Flooded mine is absolutely correct. So flooded, in fact, that we physically do not have enough air to swim through it to our target. Remember, we don't have the run key bound to our mouse, so we have to swim slowly. However, another recommendation quest saves the day. In the Shadenhall recommendation quest, you're tasked with retrieving the Ring of Burden from a well behind the guild hall. When you retrieve the key to the well from Deetsand, she actually gives you a cheap water breathing spell for free to help you obtain the ring. However, we need at least 25 levels on our alteration scale to even cast it. Not a problem, however, since Trayvon the Redguard over here sells a cheap 5% shield spell that we only have to spam for about 2 minutes to increase our alteration skill enough. We also return to Bruma to regain our 100% chameleon. After that, we head to Flooded Mine and shit all over Qarls. More like Qarls nuts, am I right? Got him. We pick up our next dead drop from a coffin right outside the entrance to Fort Redmond. We are tasked with killing a traveling merchant named Aval Uvani. He apparently has a rare allergy to honey that will cause him to become paralyzed if he ingests it. We could give him some mead, but since we have to use the keyboard to drop items, this unfortunately is not possible. Another great thing is that he travels all over the place, meaning that it would be very difficult to get him while we still have our 100% chameleon up. We decide to just fight him like a man. And by fight him like a man, I mean cast frenzy on everybody in town and hope he dies in the chaos. Also, he's apparently a master in the destruction school of magic, but he doesn't cast a spell once while we're fighting him. Curious. We eventually just finish him off, kill him ourselves. We get arrested, but we don't give a fuck. Next up, we have a contract to kill a Nord named Havelstein Whoreblood, who's made himself a home up on Knoll Mountain near Bruma. Nothing much to say here. We got our 100% chameleon online and just murder him to death. For some reason, our next dead drop is located inside of an underwater chest in an alien ruin. Who the fuck would put anything there? Anyways, we're tasked with killing a Bosmer named Unglim in Breville, a master of the marksman skill. If you've ever fought him legitimately, you know that he consistently lands paralyzing shots on you. He likes to hang out in front of the Lucky Lady statue in the center of town between 6 PM and 1 AM. I wonder why he's doing that. Like before, we're completely invisible, so we just kill him where he stands and he's none the wiser.
Nothing to worry about, I guess.
Suddenly, we're jump scared by Lucien LeChance. He tells us that we've actually been systematically killing off members of the Black Hand. Do you remember the first time you played this questline and got this plot twist? Good times. Lucien realizes that we were just following orders and had no idea what we were doing. He tells us to go to the next dead drop location to find out who's been placing all these fake dead drops. We head to Anvil and wait around here until we find this guy placing the next dead drop. He tells us that a hooded man paid him to do it, and that said hooded man has rented the cellar out at the Anvil Lighthouse. We head on over to the lighthouse, politely ask for the key to the cellar, and head down there. We find Mother's head.
Nothing like Mother's head. You didn't hear that. You did not hear me say that.
We also find the trader's diary. Apparently, he plans to kill the Night Mother. We can't let that slide, so we head back to Apple Watch to inform Lucien of this discovery and... oh, dear God. Arkwin tells us that the, quote, traitor has been dealt with, and that we need to head to the Night Mother's crypt to ask her for guidance on what to do next. She starts yapping in front of the Lucky Lady statue in Breville, and the entrance to the crypt opens up. Oh, so that's what Unglim was doing. Inside the crypt, the Night Mother calls everyone stupid and says the traitor is still alive. Conveniently, the traitor reveals himself as Matthew Bellamont, a member of the Dark Brotherhood whom, so far, we have not had a single reason to suspect was the traitor, nor have we had a reason to remotely interact with at all. Anyways, we nearly die to him, but eventually, we, along with Arkwin, deal with the traitor. Afterwards, we're teleported back to the Sanctuary, where Arkwin informs us that we are now the listener of the Dark Brotherhood, and once a week, we are to retrieve the names of new victims from the Lucky Lady statue and relay them to Arkwin. This quest is infinitely repeatable, so we have completed all of the quests the Dark Brotherhood has to offer. And with that, our challenge is complete. Playing with just a mouse was definitely an inconvenience, but I actually had a lot of fun putting this run together and overcoming unique challenges associated with just not having enough buttons. It was also refreshing doing a different questline than the main quest. I love the Dark Brotherhood questline, I'm sure you guys do too. It's the GOAT for sure. Anyways, thanks for watching guys, and thanks for all the support you guys have been giving me. We are officially a YouTube partner, so in the future I might make a few bucks off this stuff, which would be pretty cool. I won't be setting up any channel memberships or a Patreon or anything like that just yet, because I don't have anything exclusive to offer yet for doing that, but it's definitely in the cards. Of course, paying me directly will never ever be necessary, as just watching the videos and maybe an ad or two, and commenting and liking are all great ways to support me and boost my videos in the algorithm. Making these videos and growing such a great audience motivates me to want to do this full time if possible. Once again, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to drop a like and a sub, and comment what your favorite quest in Oblivion is, Dark Brotherhood or otherwise. Mine has to be a toss-up between either Schedule for Execution, Unexpected Voyage, or Shiro Goroth's Daedric Quests. Okay, love you guys, bye!